Welcome. On the surface, restaurant payroll looks like a simple back office task, something you handle after the last table closes. But here's the reality. Payroll in a restaurant is a live operational system tied to time tracking, tipping, tax compliance, onboarding, and labor law. And when even one part is misconfigured, the consequences ripple outward fast. Unhappy employees, compliance violations, and expensive penalties. Every day, restaurants across the country face a hidden crisis that threatens their very existence. You might think payroll is just about cutting checks, but in restaurants it is a complex web of tip calculations, overtime rules, multi state regulations, and system integrations. And when it breaks down, the consequences are severe. Today, we are going to unpack exactly how restaurants can identify and avoid the most common payroll mistakes. So grab a seat because what you are about to learn could save your business thousands of dollars and countless headaches. So here's the central question driving this entire investigation. Why do restaurant payroll systems fail so spectacularly, and why should you care? Restaurant payroll is uniquely messy. Employees can have multiple pay rates, variable schedules, tips, overtime exposure, local tax obligations, and paid leave requirements, all moving at once. Imagine your POS is tracking hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars in tips, but none of that data automatically flows to payroll. Your manager spends late nights manually entering numbers into spreadsheets. One decimal point in the wrong place, one missed overtime hour, one misclassification of a tipped employee, and boom, you have just committed a compliance violation. And unlike a mistake in a spreadsheet that stays hidden, payroll mistakes hit real people and real regulators. Employees notice underpayment immediately. Agencies notice late filings eventually. Federal penalties alone can reach $1,000 per violation per employee. Unpaid wage claims multiply exponentially. The true challenge is not just running payroll, it is building a process that stays accurate under pressure, week after week, in a high turnover, multi system business. Now, here's where the investigation uncovers the smoking gun. The number one reason restaurant payroll systems fail is not human error alone. It is architectural failure, systems that fundamentally do not talk to each other. Your POS tracks daily hours beautifully, but your payroll software never sees that granular data. Your timekeeping system knows exactly when someone worked a split shift, but payroll applies a generic calculation. This is what we call the integration gap, and it is where compliance goes to die. Many restaurant owners assume that simply having a modern POS is enough. But here's the reality. If your POS is acting as an isolated island completely disconnected from payroll, it is a recipe for disaster. Think about tip pooling, a complex calculation that must factor in hours worked, roles performed, and legal eligibility. Your POS might track the tips, but without proper integration, your payroll system cannot see the breakdown. And it gets worse. Quick fixes made in one system but not the other create data mismatches that become future payroll errors. As state and local rules multiply, from paid leave to tip minimum wage to spread of work premiums, the old habit of patching problems manually stops working. The missing ingredient is not just better technology, it is coordinated process ownership. So how do we solve this? The approach is to treat restaurant payroll as an integrated compliance workflow, not a standalone transaction. Our research led to a 4-pillar framework that transforms payroll from a liability into a strategic advantage. Pillar 1. POS and payroll integration. Configure these systems to function as one brain. Tip pooling calculations happen automatically within the POS, then transmit a clear breakdown of hours, overtime, and tip allocations directly to payroll. No more midnight spreadsheet sessions. Pillar 2. Payroll first onboarding. Start every new hire inside your payroll software, ensuring DOL compliance for W-4s, I-9s, and handbook signatures before the employee ever steps foot on the floor. This eliminates the risk of paying employees without proper documentation. Pillar 3. System parity protocol. Map your departments and pay rates in your timekeeping or POS system first, then mirror them perfectly in payroll. No silent side edits, no quick fixes on just one side of the ledger. And Pillar 4. Automated compliance layer. Configure your systems to automatically apply state-specific rules like spread of hours premiums, paid leave accruals, and minimum wage tip credit calculations. Critically, assign ownership clearly. Vendors can help configure, accountants can help map categories, but the employer must ensure the whole machine stays compliant. Now for the moment of truth. What happens when restaurants actually implement this integrated approach? The findings are clear, and the data tells a remarkable story. First, payroll error rates dropped dramatically when POS and payroll systems were properly synchronized because data flowed automatically without manual reentry. Second, new hire onboarding time decreased significantly when using payroll first protocols, compressing a process that used to take hours down to minutes. Third, and this is crucial, restaurants that maintained system parity saw zero violations for complex state laws like spread of hours premiums and tip credit shortfalls. The compliance needle moved from reactive firefighting to proactive prevention. The most common payroll mistakes in restaurants trace back to a handful of repeatable breakdowns: disconnected systems, weak onboarding, poor system parity, and incomplete tax registration. The breakthrough is simple but powerful. When those upstream issues are configured correctly, payroll becomes dramatically more reliable and compliance risk drops before the paycheck is ever issued. Automated systems act as your watchdog, instantly flagging when tipped employees fall short of the minimum wage and shielding you from accidental underpayment liabilities. Let's get practical. How does this actually work across different restaurant formats? At a neighborhood cafe, using payroll-first onboarding means every new hire completes their W-4, I-9, and handbook acknowledgement before picking up an apron, eliminating documentation gaps entirely. At a high-volume full-service restaurant with complex tip pooling across multiple roles, POS integrated tip distribution becomes automated and error-free, including automatic spread of hours premiums for those brutal double shifts that used to require hours of manual Sunday calculations. For a fast casual chain expanding into cities with different minimum wage laws, the payroll system automatically applies the higher local wage and alerts management when tip credits do not bridge the gap to standard minimums. And for a multi-state restaurant group, proactively registering for state income tax and state unemployment insurance accounts before the first payroll eliminates the scramble that previously triggered $15,000 penalties. An accountant, partnered directly with the payroll system, maps categories to the general ledger, giving the owner real-time labor cost visibility by location, department, and shift. Accurate payroll means employees believe management is organized and fair. Strong system integration means managers spend less time fixing historical errors and more time actually running great shifts. Here's where everything changes. Our research revealed something unexpected. Payroll is not just something to get right in order to avoid penalties. When integrated properly, it becomes a real-time intelligence engine that drives business growth. For decades, restaurants have viewed payroll as a cost center, a necessary administrative burden. But your payroll system now has granular data on labor costs by hour, by role, by location. It knows exactly when overtime kicks in, which shifts are most profitable, and how tip patterns fluctuate seasonally. Restaurants using this approach began optimizing staffing decisions, reducing labor costs while improving service scores. They identified underperforming locations not by revenue alone, but by labor efficiency metrics. The future this points toward is even more exciting. Smarter exception monitoring, tighter integration layers connecting payroll directly to business intelligence platforms, and proactive compliance alerts before problems surface. But the most important insight is this: no tool replaces accountability. The restaurant that masters payroll integration does not just avoid penalties. It gains a competitive advantage that rivals cannot replicate. Payroll stops being the final administrative step after operations are done and becomes a foundational part of how the restaurant is designed to run from day one. That is the paradigm shift. So here we are. Let's bring it all together. We started by exposing the hidden crisis: how disconnected payroll systems create compliance nightmares in an industry that cannot afford them. We identified the integration gap as the root cause of the most common restaurant payroll failures. We unveiled the four-pillar framework: POS integration, payroll-first onboarding, system parity, and automated compliance. We saw the findings confirm that when upstream issues are configured correctly, payroll errors drop dramatically and compliance becomes proactive rather than reactive. and we saw how restaurants of every size and format are applying these principles to protect their employees, their margins, and their operations. Now, here is your call to action. Audit your payroll workflow as a full system, not a single task. Start with onboarding in payroll first. Keep your POS and payroll data in perfect sync. Monitor hours and tips carefully every single day. Configure your wage and leave rules correctly from the start. And make sure your tax registrations are complete before filings begin. Remember that outside partners can help configure and advise, but accountability always lives with the employer. The restaurants that thrive in 2026 and beyond will not just be the ones with the best recipes. They will be the ones with the best systems. Like and subscribe for more helpful videos like this. Connect with Forks for the experienced accounting professionals your restaurant needs. Details in description below.